Finally, joining us on the couch is James Eze, an author of the book Goosebumps. Now, he was a pioneer literary editor of the Sunday Sun, right? One newspaper I know I read. I actually went through it even when I was growing up. Welcome to Wake Up Nigeria. It's amazing having you here.
Thank you very much.
I went through your profile. I'm like, wow, you literally have worked in a bank, you've worked with Chimamanda, you've done so much, and you also have a song or two.
Yes.
I know I listened to one of them. I think it's literally brilliant. Thank you so much for joining us here. So now let's
My
start.
pleasure.
Before Goosebumps,
okay,
right? What was it like? What was your journey into writing? Because I know we're definitely born with different talents, and the point we discover what we want to do. So what was that point for you?
The point when I discovered, writing was my thing, right?
Yes.
Was right from when I was in secondary school.
Okay.
I was fascinated by my literature teacher. God rest his soul. His name is Zike Chukwu Odo. I keep giving him props because you imagine, the kind of impact he's had on my life so far.
Yes.
When I was young, I wanted to speak English like him because he had this very deft command of the language.
Yes.
And then he taught us poetry or literature generally in a way that brought the subject home. And I recall vividly when he taught us Gabriel Okara's The Call of the River Nun. I was born in the hilly part of Enugu State, so, but the way he taught The Call of the River Nun made me imagine myself in the shoes of a riverine kid, standing by the river, and immersing myself in Gabriel Okara's imagination and the things that he evoked in that poem.
Wow.
And that was my first real encounter, and it was like a baptism of sorts. So from then, I knew I could actually try my hands too, because I got so immersed in reading when I was young that I knew somehow instinctively that my future was tied to this art.
To this art. And I think you also have a very good command of oral English presentation, actually. And of course, I think it goes without saying. Also, your experience working at the bank as a communications expert and then working with Chimamanda. Now, what was that experience like, the Chimamanda one?
Chimamanda, is a remarkable human being. I actually met Chimamanda when I was a literary journalist. And I interviewed her. She was not known then. Okay. She had just written her first major short story, Half of a Yellow Sun, which came out first as a short story and won a prize in the US. And she was holidaying somewhere in Ilukbeju back then when I met her, and we had a fascinating evening. I mean, she was, I found in her something that was not common, She was very young, precocious, but very intense.
Very intense.
So, and we became friends thereafter because we found out that we loved reading the same type of books.
Oh, nice.
If you're a reader, you find out you can't read all the books in the universe. If you love fiction, you can't read all the fiction.
Yes.
There are certain writers whose writing styles appeal to you.
Yes.
Better than others.
Very true.
So we found out we shared a keen spirit in that regard. And she began to buy me books from the US because, of course, there are more books in the US.
Okay.
And then from that moment evolved a friendship that finally led to our collaboration when I began to work in a bank, a Fidelity Bank, and she wanted to start a creative writing workshop. And while I worked in the bank, she won the Orange Prize, which was her first major literary prize.
Yes.
And I was able to persuade the bank management then to hold a formal reception for her in Lagos here at the Golden Gate restaurant in Ikoyi. It attracted some of the major literary figures in the country back then. And we celebrated this young woman who had done Nigeria proud.
So proud.
And from that, it was that night that the creative writing workshop was announced.
Was announced,
So,
okay.
you know, it took off.
Amazing. So we're here today to talk about Goosebumps, which actually is your book and a collection of 50 poems. I was telling you earlier that I actually do enjoy poems. I think what I like the most about this book is going through the content. I can peek on. I'm seeing so many random pieces. I saw the cigarettes one, and I'm like, okay, I'm seeing elixir, I'm seeing Goosebumps, I'm seeing cigarette smoke, I'm seeing so many things. So tell me, what is this book about? Why did you come to the point where you realized you wanted to put this collection together?
All right, thank you. Well, Goosebumps is a collection of 50 love poems.
Love poems, yes.
And it's my first attempt to tackle a topic that is organically related in the sense that all the poems in Goosebumps have a silent line connecting all of them,
yes.
because I wanted to talk about love.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes people might think it's strange to talk about love when Nigeria is in famine like we are now. But I think it's been proven all over the history of humanity that, you know, when the world is in a moment of strife, people still find the tenderest of feelings and ways to express them. So I chose to write about love in this season because it's something that I believe we should be reminded of, that in spite of our disagreements and conflicts and, you know, disenchantments with our situation,
yes.
there is still a part of us that stretches out to the other person. You know, so this is a collection of 50 love poems split into 5 chambers, but originally 4.
4 chambers,
yes,
because you likened it to the heart.
Yes, absolutely. And, you know, the heart has 4 chambers. And in Goosebumps, each chamber offers a slice of experience. It starts with serenade, which is what happens when a young man meets an enchanting beauty like you. And he goes rhapsodizing, imagining things, you know, conjuring visions of what could happen.
Wow.
You know, so serenade, you are thinking about this beauty, you know, you are wondering what it would be if she were to be yours. Then the next stage in the progress through the chambers is the besotted stage, where you become so intensely, you know, involved, you know, in the process that you are actually full of enchantments yourself.
Yes.
You really want, you know, to take possession.
Yes.
And then you get to desire. Desire is when the flame of passion flares in.
Erupts.
Yes. So it goes from each stage. Then the final stage of the 4 stages is heartache, where, you know, like everything in life, you know, things begin to wilt, flowers wither in your palms. And then you wonder, did we really go through this experience in the first place? Was it worth my while?
Yes.
And then I added the 5th stage, which is songs, because my poetry has been generally regarded as very lyrical. And I write songs, as you alluded earlier to some of my songs. In fact, one of my my latest singles dropped a couple of days ago.
Yes.
You know, You're My Number One. You know, it's a very intense, you know, love song, which I try to look at. You know, people are talking about the kind of, you know, relationships. They use vulgar language, dress women down, say things that you wouldn't. They play, you know, the kind of music we listen to these days. You wouldn't want to listen to them with your children.
Very true.
You know, you find some adults who want to address their wives.
Yes.
They have no songs to speak to her.
Speak to her, except those ones there. So now you're literally putting that together.
Exactly.
Like pure loves,
absolutely.
songs that come from the heart.
You know, so the opening line of the song says, good wives are hard to find, so I'm going to try to make your mind keep you satisfied, never leave your side, be your ride or die, keep bumming. We are, you know, he goes on and on and on and on. So, and then he goes to a point where it becomes a celebration between
Yes.
two people who are intensely in love.
All right. Sadly, now we started we went to the beginning of the song, but then we actually had to come to the end of this
Oh my God.
interview. So sad.
That's too short, but
Yes. But then again, we
Nonetheless.
actually have food in the kitchen, breakfast in the kitchen. I would like you to try that as well. So that's why we're actually trying to rush close up in this. So now actually we're heading over to the kitchen. We'd like
All right.
for you to join us.
oh, wow.
Right? Yes.